I have been serving in the community probably since 2009.
Zachary DeWolf works to help homeless youth for all home King County. He's president of the Capitol Hill Community Council, and he serves as a commissioner on the Seattle Housing Authority Board. But he wants to do something more.
What I kept coming up against was the fact that so much of the work I was doing was on the back end, on the reactive side. So for me, it was about actually addressing these issues a little bit earlier, more upstream.
That, plus what he saw as a call to action after the presidential election, is why he's making a run for Seattle School Board Director, District 5, which covers Central and East Seattle. DeWolf, a recently married gay man who's also a Chippewa Cree tribal member, says he can bring a fresh perspective to Seattle schools.
As a young person, as a queer person, as a Native person, as a person who just got married and is thinking about having kids, I am at a different point in my life where I am also thinking about schools. And what we actually need to do is bring more people into the conversation.
DeWolf won 47% of the vote in the 5-candidate August primary and has raised almost $30,000 for his campaign through mid-October. He's endorsed by U.S. Congresswoman Pramila Jayapal, King County Executive Dow Constantine, the Seattle Education Association Teachers Union, and the Stranger newspaper.
Right now we are not listening, we're not putting together events where we're asking the community what they need.
DeWolf says his top priority, if elected, would be to reach out to schools citywide to better understand family and student concerns. DeWolf also wants to improve communications with state and local governments to gain support for a school district with persistent academic performance gaps between white students and students of color.
At this point, we need to come all in, all work together to figure out how are we going to make sure that racial equity concerns are addressed. We're actually talking about the school-to-prison pipeline. So those are some of the big things I want to do for sure.
Omar Vasquez has some big plans too.
I'm running because I'm passionate about education, passionate about students.
Vasquez, a lawyer dealing with business and tax cases, says he's the right person to guide Seattle schools through a complicated new education funding process from the state, part of Olympia's ongoing work with the McCleary mandate.
It's going to help to have somebody who understands financials and who understands the law so we can make sure we put that money to work for our kids.
Vasquez was also a high school math teacher and says his own background as a Mexican-American who grew up going to low-income schools will help in tackling Seattle's racial equity issues.
We have one of the worst academic achievement gaps in the nation, and even though we have tremendously excellent schools in our district, there's not equitable access for all the students. That has to be our #1 priority.
Vasquez won about 18% of the vote in the August primary and has raised about $25,000 for his campaign through mid-October. He's endorsed by the Seattle Times, former King County Executive Ron Sims, the current board member for District 5, Stefan Blanford, and 8 former members of the Seattle School Board. Vasquez also served for about 2 years as a board member for Summit Public Schools, part of the charter school system voters approved in our state in 2012. Charters, which are run by a state commission, not Seattle Public Schools, have faced several legal challenges since then. But Vasquez says he stands by his decision to help the Summit program.
Knew that one day if I ever went into public service, this was going to be challenging in the city, but I did it for the kids, and I don't regret it. And now I'm running to take my skill set and work for all the schools in Seattle Public Schools.
Vasquez says if elected, he's ready for all types of challenges, from finding a replacement for Superintendent Larry Nyland next year to dealing with problems from the federal government.
Who in the world knows what's going to come down from Trump and DeVos, and so we need to be ready to defend against any kind of cuts to federal funding, which the district relies on heavily.
The biggest issue right now? Who gets your support in the citywide vote for Seattle School Board District 5?
Thank you for voting.
2 young, fresh voices are asking to be heard.
We have to make sure our students are prepared to thrive in Seattle.
We really need to engage our community.